What constitutes the immune system? How do bad habits weaken the immune system? Why and how do we get sick? Having answers to these questions will help you prevent many of the common diseases and disorders. It will prolong your healthy, productive, and happy life. Let's begin with looking what the immune system is. The immune system is defined by the National Cancer Institute as a complex system of cells, organs, and tissues that protect the body from bacteria, viruses, and microorganisms that try to invade it. Now, let us take a closer look at 10 common habits which, by neglecting, compromises our well-being. Smoking is bad for you. You already know that. And here's exactly what it does to your body. Smoking weakens the immune system by depressing antibodies and decreasing the count of natural killer cells that target cancerous cells. Smoking causes infections. Chemicals and carbon monoxide are carried through the bloodstream with smoke. This limits oxygen in all of the organs, and the irritated tissue of the lungs has less resistance to the cancerous cells and other chemical invaders. This prompts irritation and inflammation of the lung tissue and promotes infections like influenza and pneumonia. Smoking damages lung tissue and causes different types of chronic disorders and malignant diseases. Among them, emphysema, obstructive pulmonary disorder, just to name a few. Research shows that smoking actually activates parts of the immune system that attack the lung tissue. The process of decreased killer cells can be reversed if the smoker gives up cigarettes, and as difficult as it may be, it's worth the challenge. How many drinks a night you have is solely your decision, but before you hit the bottle, it's important you are aware of the following facts. Excessive alcohol prevents nutrients from feeding your immune system. Alcohol in your bloodstream reduces the count of white blood cells that help fight disease and clumps up red blood cells that plugs up your blood vessels. The less oxygen your organs have, the less they are able to function and the immune system doesn't operate at its peak. On average, the amount of alcohol you take should not exceed 2 or 3 drinks a night. Anything that gets you impaired will weaken the immune system by causing nutrition deficiency. Alcohol also impairs the function of B lymphocytes that produce antibodies in the blood, which in turn help fight viruses and other diseases. Other health issues related to alcohol are caused by high stomach acidity because it works harder to break down the alcohol. This acid can cause ulcers, liver problems, and kidney disease. Normally, your white blood cells could fight off these conditions, but not when alcohol intake is high. So before drinking, always remember that you know your own limit, and you decide how healthy you want to be. Mother knows best. At least it appears that way when it comes to lack of sleep. Although mother may not have known these details in relation to sleep. Sleep deprivation suppresses immune system function, and there is a long list of mental and physical health problems that stem from impaired immune system. A lot of studies show that our T cells go down when we are sleep deprived, and our inflammatory cytokines go up. This could potentially lead to the greater risk of developing a cold or flu, says Diwakar Balachandran, MD, director of the Sleep Center at the University of Texas. Sleep also influences how well we fight illnesses once we come down with them. Our bodies fight infections with fever. Balachandran says that during sleep we get better fever responses. Sleep deprivation also influences the degree to which immunization works once we are vaccinated. We develop less antibodies to certain vaccines if we are sleep deprived. Balachandran also points out that sleep loss affects our ability to fight off serious health conditions. There's something called C-reactive protein, the levels of which rise with loss of sleep. CRP is a marker of inflammation, and inflammation may play a role in heart disease. Susan Zafar-Lotfi, PhD, Clinical Director of the Institute for Sleep and Wake Disorders at Hackensack University Medical Center in New Jersey, says that the weaker your immune system is, the faster you will get run down, and the more prone you are to infection. However, some people have strong immune systems and are able to readjust with a cup of coffee. It is important to maintain patterns and healthy sleep, and there may be things you may need to readjust if you aren't sleeping well, but it is crucial for you to get at least 7 hours of sleep to keep your immune system strong and healthy. When it comes to exercise, moderation is the key to maintaining a strong immune system. What weakens your immune system are cumulative challenging workouts and excessive exercise sessions. Overly intense workouts may leave an open window up to 72 hours post-workout, during which your body is at a higher risk of viruses and bacteria entering the body. Regular exercises, in fact, strengthen your immune system. 60 to 90% amateur athletes who do not overtrain have fewer colds than people who don't exercise. It's very important to monitor how you feel. As you know, everyone is unique, and what works for some may not work for others. Eating healthy and getting a good amount of rest will help you decrease immune system stress. We already know that there is a direct relation between stress and our physical reactions to it. But there is an interesting function that happens within the body. It actually wears out the immune system and suppresses its function in the long run. Dr. Wayne from National Institute of Health explains it in quite simple terms. Stress produces a hormone in the body called cortisol. The brain recognizes cortisol as the fight or flight hormone, and when it is produced, other body functions are halted until a stressful situation has passed. The immune system also receives signals to slow down. In cases with chronic stress, the immune system stays in low gear. Common illnesses brought on or worsened by stress are cardiovascular disease, digestive problems, skin conditions, and poor memory function. Dr. Wayne warns us that too little stress will do the opposite. The immune system will attack healthy tissue, but really, the general population does not have anything to worry about. If you have a lot of stress in your life, try your best to learn how to control your reactions to it in order to keep your immune system strong and healthy. Did you know that vast majority of people are chronically dehydrated? Things like coffee, alcohol, and sugar-laced drinks all lead to further dehydration. This, sadly, is the cause of many long-term health conditions. The dehydration process is essentially compounding itself and producing inflammation throughout the body. Chronic inflammation leads to altered metabolism. Inflammation causes further impairment to one's immune system and can contribute to what's called autoimmune disease. When you develop an autoimmune disease, what happens is a person's own immune system attacks healthy cells by mistake. Water makes up a large percentage of your blood, and lymphatic fluids make up 4 times the volume of the blood. Both play a vital part in supporting your immune system. Blood carries oxygen and nutrients to your system, and lymphatic fluid removes the waste products from your body. Your brain needs glucose that is delivered via blood supply. Lack of glucose can lead to memory impairment, not thinking clearly, and depression. Microstreams exist along the length of the nerves and transport nutrients along microtubes to where the messages are being transmitted. Dehydration can disrupt these messages. Histamine is a neurotransmitter that plays a significant role in encouraging water intake during periods of dehydration. Elevated levels of histamine can also impact and contribute to asthma, depression, and chronic pain. Water makes up about 60% of one's body weight. Obesity has shown to decrease the percentage of water in the body, sometimes to as low as 45%. When the overall blood volume falls, so does one's blood pressure. This in turn strains the heart and leads to many heart-related problems. For many, the only water intake are proteins, fruits, and veggies. It may be hard to drink 8 glasses a day, but you have to remember that water prevents disease. So stay hydrated. Respiratory infections and allergies are most common in developing countries. The underlying cause is a malfunctioning immune system. The allergen simply triggers an incorrect immune system response. In a sense, the immune system identifies the harmless allergen and tries to kill it. Dr. Seaton's studies over the past years demonstrated that constant auto-inoculation of the nose and eyes by fingertip area leads to an overloaded immune system and most of the infections of the respiratory tract. Germs aren't hurled at us by coughs and sneezes. They're handed to us during routine and intimate physical contact. If you take samples from various parts of the hands, you'll see that while there are thousands of germs on the backs and palms of the hands and on the fingers, there are tens of millions, sometimes hundreds of millions of germs under the fingernails, from where they hitchhike to the damp membranes of the eyes and nose. And this is called autoinoculation. This is the process by which many germs and allergens affect our metabolism. In order to fight off invading bacteria, viruses, fungi, and other invaders, the body sends the immune system into action. In no time at all, T cells, B cells, macrophages, eosinophils, and other immune system soldiers are engaged in a battle with the enemy. Here is a bit of insight into how this battle takes place. Our immune system utilizes many protein-based substances to fight off the invasion. When this concentration of protein is activated, other proteins in your body, such as albumin, are decreased. If the level of albumin in your blood drops, your risk of contracting serious, possibly deadly disease shoots way up. Doctors don't often talk about albumin, although every simple blood test measures its count. Here's what you should know about it. It protects damaged tissue from free radicals that can destroy cells and cause cancer by altering DNA. It guards against heart disease by stabilizing the ratio between good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. Protects the biological terrain by buffering the blood against pH changes. Helps to keep the blood flowing smoothly by preventing red blood cells and other substances from clumping together. Is essential for transporting vitamins, magnesium, copper, zinc, bilirubin, uric acid, sex hormones, thyroid hormone, and other hormones, and fatty acids throughout the body. It regulates the movement of nutrients between the blood and the body's cells. Stabilizes red blood cells and growth hormones. Plays a major role in controlling the precise amount of water in various bodily tissues. Plays an important role in transporting and circulating reservoir of thyroid hormones. Purifies the cerebrospinal fluid, nourishes brain cells, and maintains the blood-brain barrier. Helps to ensure that there are adequate amounts of certain key minerals in the bones. Binds and transports the stress hormone known as cortisol, reducing stress-induced damage to the thymus gland, brain, and connective tissue. Albumin has been described as a portable liver because the liver is the body's chief mechanism for disarming toxins and other dangerous substances, and because albumin, which is made in the liver, does the same throughout the body. Fortunately, we can lower the risk of infection by paying scrupulous attention to personal hygiene. By preventing the germs from getting into our bodies and causing infections, we keep our antibodies at a normal level, allowing our albumin level to rise. Problems that can be helped by maintaining thorough hygiene include acne, allergies, asthma, Alzheimer's, athlete's foot, arthritis, candida, colds, flus, diabetes, measles, pneumonia, and worms. Yes, washing your hands sounds like a very simple solution to an incredibly complex set of problems, but the simplest ideas are often the best. Scurvy used to decimate the crews of ships sailing the high seas in the 15th, 16th, and 17th centuries. The problem was solved when sailors began eating citrus fruits or drinking lemon or lime juice. Sometimes changing just one thing produces dramatic results. The soap chemist must have knowledge in immunology, biochemistry, dermatology, physiology, as well as chemistry. Dr. Seaton spent over 16 years in full-time research attempting to make world's most scientific soap. His efforts resulted in a revolutionary top soap. It's only in the past few years that researchers have been gaining an understanding of how the immune system affects metabolism and weight control. The investigators found that the cells known as ILC2s were less common in belly fat from obese adults versus thinner people. What's more, in experiments with mice, they found that ILC2s seem to spur the development of beige fat cells, which boost the body's calorie burning. It appears that these cells don't work properly in obesity, according to senior researcher David Artis, a professor of immunology at Weill Cornell Medical College in New York City. Artis explained that while the immune system's immediate job is to fight infection, it's conceivable that some of its components are evolved to have the ability to communicate with fat tissue during times of adversity in order to alter the body's metabolism. We're in the infancy of this research, and there's a lot more work to do, Artis stressed. But the goal, he said, is to develop new approaches to treating obesity by better understanding the communication between the immune system and body fat. We know that ultraviolet light does cause immunological changes in humans. That's clear, says Margaret Kripke, chairman of the immunology department at the MD Anderson Cancer Center at the University of Texas in Houston. It's a fairly subtle effect, she says. It's not total immune suppression like the AIDS virus causes. Most people are aware that too much sun can increase a person's risk of skin cancer, particularly the often fatal form known as melanoma. That's why many doctors warn against getting sunburn, the most obvious sign of increasing risk. But few know about sunlight's effect on the immune system. Research studies have only begun to examine this effect in people in the last few years, and according to research carried out by the University of Miami, dark-skinned people are just as likely to suffer the ill effects of too much sunlight as lighter-skinned people. It seems that damage to the immune system can be seen in both groups when exposed to too much ultraviolet light. What's more worrying is that a few researchers think animal studies indicate that it is plausible that certain diseases like tuberculosis involve parts of the immune system thought to be affected by ultraviolet light. Yet, even with all the emerging evidence that sunlight can cause immune system effects, few argue that this is as big a problem as skin cancer. The World Health Organization reported earlier this year that melanoma in light-skinned people is increasing annually by 5 to 10%. In the United States, the incidence of melanoma has nearly doubled in the last 10 years to an annual count of 32,000 cases, including 8,000 deaths. If fear of skin cancer isn't enough to keep you out of the summer sun, listen to this. Researchers are now warning that too much sun may suppress our immune system in subtle and mysterious ways. The effects could aggravate such annoying problems as dormant herpes infections or pesky yeast infections. Whether there are other, more serious implications isn't yet known. But really, do you want to take the risk? In the 1970s, Dr. Linus Pauling, one of the greatest researchers in the field of microbiology, discovered that vitamin C helps the body to combat the common cold. As part of the research, Dr. Pauling found that sugar slows down the same process by 75%. There is a special type of cell called phagocyte in our blood. This is a cell, like a white blood cell, that engulfs and absorbs waste material, harmful microorganisms, or other foreign bodies in the bloodstream and tissue. So vitamin C is being moved through the cell membranes into the white blood cells all over the body all the time. Dr. Pauling discovered that in order to continue to destroy bacteria and viruses, white blood cells accumulate vitamin C and contain 50 times the concentration as would normally be found in the blood around it. Glucose, which is a simple form of sugar, and vitamin C have such similar chemical structures that when a white blood cell tries to pull in more vitamin C from the blood, glucose can get substituted by mistake. If the concentration of glucose in the blood goes beyond a certain concentration, the white blood cell's vitamin C concentration starts to drop. At a blood sugar level of 120, white cells' function is reduced by 75%. This is easily obtained by a normal person eating some sugar, like cookies, cake, candy, even drinking a fruit juice. Further, it can take 4 to 6 hours for the vitamin C concentration in the white blood cells to reach that optimum 50 times concentration again. As you can see, it's not a great idea to eat any kind of sugar if you're sick, including the much recommended orange juice, which may contain vitamin C, but this won't help the white blood cells get past the sugar to use it. Your health is the most important thing you have, and you should take care of it. Just a few sensible adjustments can go a long way to putting you on the right track. A healthy diet, lots of water, with moderate exercise and plenty of sleep will do the world of good. And if you can supplement with science-based high-grade immune-boosting multivitamin supplements such as Immuno Air, then you're doing yourself a great favor.